Recently, there were some posts saying that Mahabali never ruled Kerala. Mahabali never lived, and he's a foreigner. I think that only a person who has no idea about the history of Mahabali Vansa will say these things. Now, our earlier writings or evidences of Sathyayuga, Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga come only from literature, especially the Puranas, Ithihasas, etc. But evidence from Kaliyuga onwards, we have different inscriptions and epigraphical evidences about this Vansha in different parts of India, especially the southern parts of India. There are hundreds of such epigraphical evidences, of which a few only are cited here to prove that Mahabali was a powerful king and his race, his Vansha, existed up to 13th to 14th century in the southern parts of India, that is Tamil Nadu, Kerala, etc. And in Karnataka, even recently, several inscriptions were unearthed from 17th, 18th century also. So up to that time, this Vansha existed in South India. Especially the 17th century inscriptions were from a place called Banasura, called Banapuram. There it is cited that Raja Banasura Vamsaraksha yadavaru nagasasana kampavaru Raja. It definitely says that Raja Banasura's Vamsha was there up to 17th century in this part, that is the place called Banapura. So now that place is at present called Chikka Banavara. The original name was Banapura according to inscriptions. Now Satyayuga, we will just go through the literary evidences in Satyayuga and the till Kaliyuga. Then we follow with the epigraphical evidence. In Satyayuga writings, we have that the Jaya and Vijaya, that is the guardians of Vishnu, Jaya Vijaya, the gatekeepers, were born as the sons of Kasyapa Prajapathy in his wife Dithi. And Indra was born to him as their stepbrother in Aditi. So the Deva and Asura are actually stepbrothers, the same father, two different mothers. So they are not from different races. That is the first thing that we have to think about. Both will belong to Kasyapa Vamsha. Father is Kasyapa. Hiranyakasyapa is pronounced in Tamil as Iraniya Kachap. Iraniel, his son, the Iraniya Kasyapa had the son as Prahlada in his wife Kayadu. He was a devotee of Vishnu. Prahlada had a son called Virojana. And Virojana's son was originally called Indrasena, the Mahabali, because of his great strength and because of his great sacrifice. So Virojana's son Indrasena is actually the same Vamsha as Indra, Devendra. And Indrasena or Mahabali had a wife called Vindhyavali. And in her, he had a son called Bana. So this Vamsha was later on being called as the Mahabali Vansa. In Tamil, it is as Maavali Vaana Vamsa. So this Vamsha. Now, who is Vamana then? Vamana actually, the Indranuja, was a very young son of Kasyapa's wife Aditi. Indranuja, the young brother of Indra. So they are the same Vamsha. So we cannot say that Hiranyakashipu and Mahabali were of a different Vamsha from Indra and Vamana. They are the same Vamsha, same father. Mother is different, but they are sisters. So the Vamsha is the same. Nitreda Yuga, the area where Hiranyakashipu and Mahabali ruled with his capital as Mahishmati, that is under Yadava Vamsha, Haihaya Kartigeya, Kartavirya Arjuna was ruling from Mahishmati. So the the Chakravarti rule of that Vamsha has lost, but instead the Yadava Haihaya Kartigeya Kartavirya Arjuna is having the place as his capital. And you know the story of Parashurama, who killed all the kings, the Kartavirya Arjuna, all the Yadava, not only Yadava, all the kings and princesses. And he did penance at the northern end of Kerala, which was at that time Gokarna. Gokarna, he was doing penance. He is said to have reclaimed land from the sea and handed over it to the Kasyapa at Kachangurichi. In the area of origin of Bharatapuzha, there is a place called Kasyapa Kurichi, or Kachangurichi in Tamil. Now that place, the Kasyapa Vamshas were existing. To those Kasyapa Vamsha, he handed over the land, but they wanted a king. They are Brahmins, so they wanted a king. So the third son or middle son of Atri, the Tatreya Muni, who was staying there, he had actually rescued the last of the offspring of Kartavirya Arjuna. So that person was given to Parashurama for making the king of Kerala. From Mahishmati to Kanyakumari was the stretch of land which was handed over to this king. This is the Rama Kada Mushaka. He ruled from Mahishmati and the southern bank of Narmada up to Kanyakumari, a big stretch of land. And he had two sons. The elder son was given Mahishmati to Kerala. The second son, the Nandanan, was given from the Gokarna to Kanyakumari, that is Kerala. Up to that area, the elder ones. No. Somebody says there was no Kerala when Mahabali lived. That is not correct, because there was the pre-existing highlands of Kerala. The only part that was reclaimed was the low-lying, waterlogged parts under the sea or under the surface sea level. This was the Kudam and Kuttam areas, Kudanadu and Kuttanadu. These were reclaimed. All the other parts of Kerala were there even before that. That is why the Kachanguruchi, Kasyapa was handed over the place. And the forest goods and agricultural products has to be, this is a very rich place because of the cultivation, the forest goods, all these things, natural substances, all these had to be channeled through a unified administration. This single unified administration of Kerala, starting from the Mahishmati to Kanyakumari, was done by the rulers of the earlier Mahabali Vamsa and then of this Ramakada Mushaka, that is Yadava Vamsa. Both these people were very effective in that, because they had a very big surface from where they could send sea goods to various parts. Kerala was famous for that only, no? So for that they had done a temple administration, agricultural festivals like Onam, etc. All these were organized. That was for the economic progress of the land. Probably that was Mahabali's biggest contribution to our land, and that is why he is still remembered by the Vamsha of Mahabali. Anyway, in Dwapara Yuga, we find one Bana king, but he is very powerful even in the northeast part of India. We see in Andhra remnants of the old forts of Kasyapa, where Narasimha came out from a big pillar that is still exists in that part. And in western part of India, we have the Banasura hills as a memory of the Bana, the son of Mahabali. You know, in Dwapara Yuga, the character which we find in the Banavamsa is Usha. That is the daughter of Banasura. She married Aniruddha, the Yadava prince, the grandson of Sri Krishna. And their son Vajra survived the Mahabharata war, and successors are the Yadava, Mahabali, Vaana combined genes. So Vajra, the next successor, that is son of Usha and Aniruddha, he has both Yadava as well as Vaana, Mahabali Vaana combined genes. So this is what we find up to Yadava in Dwapara Yuga. Now comes Kaliyuga. We have several inscriptions showing the successors of this lineage. We find Kannaran Vali Vandurai Kolavila Arasha Vallabha Madana Raja. It said that he became the king of Lanka. Kannaran stands for the Yadava Krishna and Vali for Mahabali lineage. All the Vallabha kings of South India belong to this Yadava, Mushaka and Mahabali Bana lineage. Numerous Vallabha kings have ruled South India after that. We find an inscription in which Anamala Kir Iraniya Muttadin Tiruvanamalai Narasimha Alvar Nanda Vilak. Iranial stands for Hiranya Vamsha. Now there is an Iranial as a place in the Nanjinadu near Vayanad. So it stands for Hiranya Vamsha. They are the Mahabali Vamsa. In 1108, in the Tirumalirum Cholai Vishnu temple, there is an order of a Vanava Ko Arayan, that is Banavar king. This name is seen in Sangam literature as Vanavar Anpan and is also an epithet for even the Vayanad kings, all the kings of Kerala. Vandurai column is considered to be Vanderi column and Kerala Karnataka Desha and its Vallabha Vamsha. So the younger brother of Rajadi Raja and his commander-in-chief is called Rajendra Chola Maavali Vaana. That means Rajendra Chola also was a Vanavaraya. In inscriptions it is mentioned. Chola Ganga, Chola Kerala, Chola Pandya of this period are all Mahabali Vaana Vamsha. All of them ruled entire South India in different parts in different times. In an inscription of Parantaka 1, Banadiraja is a title conferred to the Ganga Prjapathy Hastiraya. South Twarkot, Chembai inscription says, Bana Maravan Narasimhavarman alias Raja Vanakon Arayan built a tank on southern bank of the Tamraparni. Sri Vallabha Mangala Brahmadeyam inscription states, Sagala Surasura Samadhigada Vijaya Sri Manohari Vallabha Maharaja Mahabali Kulatilagan Danam Panni. Mahabali Kulatilagan. See, Nandana Girinatha Paravaipura Parameshwari Vettichinna Alangrida Vrishabhala Anjana. So the entire thing just shows that the Vallabha Maharaja Vamsha is Mahabali Vamsha And this particular one was the Mahabali Kula Tilagan. That means they are all from the same Vamsha. Rajadiraja, one inscription takes away all the taxes for the salt lakes in Kanyakumari and orders the rest to be given to Sri Vallabha Perum Shalai, alias Kalkudi Rajaraja Perum Shalai, Kalkudi. And it also states that the fields were gifted, all these fields were gifted by the Senapati Maavali Vaana in the name of Rajendra Chola. So they were powerful even at that time. 70 valley fields yielding 20,000 kalam rice was given for Vaishnava Bhojana, Thiruvaimozhi festival, free higher education facilities by Mahabali Vaana. And the Sundara Pandya in 1216, Sundara Pandya gave back all the country he take away from the Chola back to Chola. But in the inscription it is said not Chola but as gave back to Ganapati. So 13th to 14th century this term existed towards the southern part of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Kulothunga Chola 3 is called Bana Ko Arayan, Chendamangalam Udayan. Bana Ko Arayan, Chendamangalam Udayan. Chendamangalam, you know that place is very famous for Kerala people. So Bana Ko Arayan, Chendamangalam Udayan, and his elder brother as the Bana kings. Andhra inscription calls Vijayaditya, the adopted Pallava king, as Mahabali Banaraya. So Pallavas were Banarayas, Kerala people were Banarayas, Vallabha kings Banaraya, Chola, Chera, Pandya, all were belonging to the Bana race, which is originally the Mahabali race. How can you say that Kerala is not ruled by Mahabali people? Mahabali race had been ruling, and entire South Indian kings were from the Mahabali race only. So we cannot see. And their administrative power and their vision of giving free food and free education through the temple administration is still continued in many temples. And it is this which is this arrangement which leads later on to the Onam festival. So it has got nothing at all with religion, but it has everything about the administration and their ability to give food to every people and food to all, education to all. So in remembrance of those old kings and their administration, we still have this Onam festival where all the people come together, where all the materials, food products, and also the hill products, forest products, all are brought, and some of them are transported via the sea to other places, and other things are used in between the people, and all people had an equal share of everything. That's all. It has nothing to do with any religious festival. It is a national festival for everybody who needs food, who needs a living. And this was the wide and extremely old tradition of the old visionary kings of those periods. This is all. So you can't say that it is not history, because there are enough epigraphic evidences for the existence of Mahabali and his race, his Vamsha.